can only do 3 exercises for the rest of your life, what would they be? I'm wondering if, like, I'm limiting your, I'm constraining your answer a lot. I feel I would like to adjust it a bit.
Okay. Yeah.
You can do 20 minutes of physical exercise per day.
Per day?
Like, you have 20 minutes. Is that too short?
Well, does that mean I'm not constrained on the 3 exercises I can do?
You can fit, like, logically, you can fit a certain amount of, you can be like, I need 5 minutes for this, 5 minutes for that, etc.
And it can vary every day. Like, I can do totally different things.
No.
That's be the same thing every day.
Yeah, you have to come up with a plan, but you can fit more than 3 things now. I'm just thinking what would be useful for somebody who doesn't know much about exercise and wants to dedicate a little time from their day to start exercising.
All right, so you have 20 minutes every day and it's the same thing.
Yeah. Come up with like a 20-minute. I'm guessing the goal is going to be to target as many muscle groups as possible.
Yeah, but 20 minutes.
For a lot of people, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just not being able to change it.
Okay, let me help you with one more thing.
Okay.
Since this is the format, we can say that cardio's like, you can have 20 minutes for cardio and 20 minutes for non-cardio.
Okay.
So you can use your 20 minutes to go on a hike.
Right.
For instance.
20 minutes, a short hike.
It is. Uphill.
Yeah. Well, then, yeah, 20 minutes for cardio would be any cardio exercise, really. Like, ideally one that's something you like and something you're going to do and something that you can, over time, increase the intensity. Like, simple as walking, and then you can run or sprint.
Right. The goal of the cardio is
to get your heart rate up.
Yeah.
For a extended period of time, you know.
And as long as you're getting your heart rate up with some physical exercise, then you're getting the benefits from it, and do something you enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna matter which one you pick much.
Not really. I think that's the easy recommendation. Like, everybody kind of knows they should spend some minimal time doing, lower intensity exercise, every week at least. Well, a few days every week. And I do stationary bike because it's very easy. It's just like, it's right there. And there's minimal impact on joints. And it's not intense enough. I mean, it could be, but I don't do it intense enough so that it harms my recovery from other training.
Okay.
That's probably the less interesting part of it. I think maybe the 20 minutes that we have.
I think so too, but we had to get that out of the.
Yeah.
We had to mention it.
When you put the question down, I assumed it was talking about strength training.
It was.
Yeah. So I'd say we just ignore the cardio stuff.
Okay.
Basically.
Cardio.
Just say,
some cardio is
do
good.
some. Yeah.
And now for your 20 minutes of resistance exercises. Are you going to try to target as many muscle groups as possible in those 20 minutes?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Like, I'm not going to work on isolation exercises.
Right.
Like wrist curls good. Or something.
This is what I was thinking of when I came up with this.
I think for me personally,
mm-hmm.
I'd probably do one exercise for the upper body, one exercise just for the lower body, and one that was maybe like a whole body exercise almost. as much as that's possible in one exercise. For the lower body exercise, I think I would go something like a split squat or some sort of lunge, some free unilateral leg exercise that's has some balance aspect to it.
Yeah.
There are many different types of them, so it's just one of the variations I'd do. For the whole body exercise, I would do like a sled pull, which is like, I mean, it's literally what it is. You pull a sled along, but there's like types of sleds that gyms sometimes have.
It looks kind of like a row.
It's like a rope attached to a sled, and you just pull it mainly with your legs. Or
Okay.
I just like that because it's like almost a whole body exercise. Get your legs in there, it gets your back, your arms, and I think it's really healthy for your knees and your ankles to push backwards. Really helps with the joints. And I've been doing that at the gym a lot, so I like that one.
Okay.
But that does take a lot of space and
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, a lot of equipment. I guess if I didn't have that, I would do some other compound leg exercise like squat or deadlift.
I was going to ask you about deadlifts because I was told it's one of the few exercises that targets the entire body.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. If you look at it, the sled pull and the deadlift are kind of somewhat similar in that you're pulling back.
Mm.
So yeah, it is kind of similar in that way. And I would, if you didn't have the sled, yeah, maybe deadlift would be a good substitution.
I'm wondering what's a beginner deadlift like?
It's a deadlift with a very light weight.
Like dumbbells?
Or just like a rod.
Okay.
Like a broomstick or something.
Is it important for there to be a rod or a stick connecting both hands?
I would say it may become important at some point because eventually you'll increase the weight more and more. And doing it with a barbell is easier in the long run, but there are variations with dumbbells as well if you don't have a barbell. You can do the same movement basically.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that would work. And for the upper body, I would do something. It's got a strange name, but I would do something called skin the cat.
I'm afraid to Google this now.
I know. Look, maybe put gymnastics.
Exercise.
Put gymnastics before it.
Okay. All right. Yes.
But that is pretty advanced, and you would need the proper equipment.
Yeah, you need rings and...
Rings. You can do it on a bar, but it's not as easy.
Okay.
But that really does the whole upper body.
It looks like you need a lot of, based on the pictures, it looks like you need a lot of abdominal strength as well.
You definitely need some. You also need shoulder, back, chest, hip flexors.
Yeah, maybe even some leg. I'm
yeah.
looking at a picture and she has her legs up and...
Yeah, your hip flexors specifically will hold the leg in that 90-degree angle. Or more if you can.
And if you didn't have... Most people don't have this available to them.
If I didn't have that, from the From the other exercises, I would want to do some sort of pushing exercise. For me, I would do like a handstand.
Oh no, that makes sense. I think that's something that most people can work towards.
Yes, it's possible to work towards it. Yeah, for sure.
Like even if you are nowhere near doing a handstand, you can always work with a wall and do some kind of an assisted. And that still is hard for a lot of people, even with the wall.
Oh yeah, it is not easy. Yeah, and if that's too hard, then something where you're pressing up and extending up, just a overhead press, maybe with dumbbells or barbell, your choice.
Okay, so for the general populace, would your recommendation then be the some kind of a squat or lunge plus some kind of a handstand where you're pushing up and deadlifts?
I think that would be reasonable. Definitely. Well, I was just going to mention that the handstand is probably not something I would want to introduce to an average person until they got some more basic strength, because it can be a bit dangerous if they don't know what they're doing.
What would you recommend they do instead?
Just the regular press, like overhead press with dumbbells, something like that.
No, I think that's...
Like, I don't think you need to do a handstand for optimal health or anything.
Why would you do it then?
Well, it's fun. And I do tend to like exercises that are more body weight based, because you learn, I guess, more about how to control your body instead of, just with moving a barbell or a machine press. It's less technique. Like, you can easily just, push up and you've learned it. Like, you can learn it pretty quickly. Handstand, you can work for years perfecting.
You're comparing handstand against a machine that basically constrains your movements to this specific thing. And then you're saying that you don't need to do the handstand, you can do the other thing. But yeah, okay, I get it. It. I thought you meant like, you don't need to do handstands, I just like doing it.
No, I think it fulfills what I want out of an upper body pushing exercise.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Understood.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I also like doing these things at home more than the gym. But even while I was at the gym, when I first started at the gym, I started with the machines where my movements were very constrained, and then I went to do some of the more body weight stuff. Or even when it's not body weight, like my gym had 2 machines for rows, and one of them was like this, it was like solid and you just move it back and forth, and the other one was with a string
cable.
I
hope it wasn't a string.
Some kind of a
metal cable.
I don't know, probably.
It was I'm sure it was metal.
Some kind of a thing connected to the weight, which was there. And I feel like you could do a lot of wrong movements with it, but once you learn how to do it properly, you could, it feels different. It felt like maybe more muscles were activated, or like parts that weren't working before started to with the cable one.
Yeah, generally, because there's more freedom of movement, so you kind of have smaller muscles that help stabilize the movement that you have to use in those cable exercises versus the machine that's just you just pull and that's it. Yeah.
You get muscles.
Yeah. And that's kind of generally why I tend towards the body weight exercises, because you're actually learning how to move your body instead of like artificially. You're not even learning, like you're just like learning how to contract like your muscle, like, and that's much better than not doing it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's important to learn how to move your body.
It feels like you get some more benefit. I don't want to say you get a lot more benefit, but you get considerable more benefit for no extra work by doing body weight stuff, exercises instead of the...
Yeah. I would say when you get to the more advanced body weight exercises, it takes more mental energy to do it.
In what sense?
Like if, for example, if I'm doing like a machine row, I don't have to be that present. I don't have to be that focused on like what I'm doing. I'm just pulling and I know nothing's going to happen. I just pull. That's it. Like if I do a handstand and I'm trying to balance on my hands, I got to be focused. And if I fall, I got to make sure I don't fall on my head and,
I can imagine,
neck,
when you're skinning the cat.
You're right. Exactly. So when you're at when you've come over and you're hanging in it's called the German hang. I don't know why these.
Who names these things?
I can't remember how Skin the Cat was named. I think the German hang was just an exercise that the Germans did at some point, and it became popular. Like 100 years ago or something. But it's basically hanging in the.
Yeah, I see it.
The halfway point. Because the Skin the Cat is you go over and then you come back, and it's just hanging in the back where your arms are extended, and staying in that position that's intense. Like it's mental. Yeah. It's just a mental exercise as well.
I'm getting tired just looking at it.
It's a good shoulder stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about which 3 exercises should like a general person do, who doesn't have a ton of equipment
But I didn't say what I thought, did I?
Oh, you said what you thought I would say.
Yes.
But I had already made a list.
Oh, okay.
And I had agreed that your suggestions on what I would say was reasonable.
Okay.
There's a lot of overlap, but what I was going to say would be a split squat, which we talked about, some sort of unilateral leg exercise, and then a pull-up.
Mm-hmm. I thought you would say that. Or I would say that, actually.
Yeah. And then I said a push press, which is like a squat into an overhead press. So you kind of use the momentum from the squat to push up the dumbbells or barbell, so as to get the legs plus the upper body.
And that's your whole body thing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's actually quite good.
That push press, since it is lower body and upper body, it works a lot. It's very efficient, we'll say.
Why push press over deadlift?
Because we have pull up in here, and I felt that we're already covering like the back part and the pulling by the pull up. So because I want, maybe I'll talk about more in general, like what I want these 3 exercises to cover.
Yeah.
Which will explain why I chose pull up instead of deadlift specifically. It's basically because I want at least one exercise that has loading on the body, so like compressive forces. And then I want one exercise that does the opposite. So it has like a extension, like a decompression. And then I want a third exercise that is lower body, but maybe more focused on like balance and, mobility, that sort of thing. So that's why I wanted the pull up in there, because it's the decompression. And if I already have the push press and the split squat, those are both compression.
I think that's good. I feel good about this plan. I might take it up.
But having said all of that, all of this really depends on the person and where they are. Like it depends on how strong they are, how mobile they are, how flexible they are, like what other activities they do, how advanced are they in any weightlifting skills, like what equipment they have.
That's assumed that the person is able to do these
that they can,
exercises, or at least like very basic versions of them.
Mm-hmm.
How much more than this do you do?
How much more?
Or let me explain what I'm trying to get at. If a person who is like doesn't have any health issues, is able to do exercises, starts doing these, gets comfortable with them, and starts raising the weights a bit too, how much of the benefits would they get compared to what you are doing
in terms of general health? And
because you're doing a lot more than this. I see your posts and stuff. What benefits do you get from the exercise that you do over the ones that you just listed?
I'm not doing what I do for health benefits. I'm doing it because I like it.
I knew
I think it's fun.
Right.
It's definitely more than anybody needs to do for optimal health. Like, if anything, I don't think I'm actually close to like harming my health. There are people who do that, like people who run like 50 miles a day or something crazy, ultra marathoners. Taken to that extreme, it's probably not healthy. Anything taken to that extreme. I'm definitely more extreme than the average person, but
you said you're not doing it for having optimal health. You're doing it because you like it. Did you always like it?
Well,
or did you start for health reasons, and did you start liking it afterwards?
Yeah, what I do now is, I've only done for the past 5 to 7 years, whatever. Something, not my whole life. But I almost always enjoyed the exercise just in itself. I just like training in some way. There are definitely times in my life where I was doing it more for just overall health than like learning skills and things that I do now. But I always enjoyed it. It's never been something I didn't look forward to.
Interesting.
Maybe in the beginning, when I was first learning any sort of strength training techniques, yes, that was difficult, and it took time to feel comfortable in going to the gym and, not thinking that people are like looking at you like.
No, I get that. I think everyone goes through that. I went through that quite late.
Most people, I think.
Yeah. But no, I mean, just having this Ooh, I can't wait to do exercises mentality. I think makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I agree. I can't imagine knowing that exercise is like the most important thing you can do for your health and not wanting to do it.
Yeah, that's me.
I understand there are people who are like that, but I don't know what to tell people who don't like it. Like it's more a different thing then. It becomes like a
Is it just luck? Like, is it that you are like that? And some people are like that. I know people who are like that. And I also know people who weren't like that and became like that when they started. But I also know people who never got to the point, myself included.
Yeah.
I still do workouts, exercises, but it's always like such a hassle. It's like, I do it, but I never get to the point where I'm like, whew, I'm glad I did that.
Right. And for me, it's the exact opposite.
That's incredible.
It's a hassle if something comes in between me and being able to train and exercise. Like, and I feel so much better when I do it and when I am doing it, like actually in the process of doing it. A lot of it's mental for me. I need it mentally somehow. I just don't function without it. I think I just came out that way. I've always been active, except for a few years in my life where I wasn't active and was very depressed as well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's one of the main things that they recommend for depressed people, no? Is to just, if they can start working out.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's something that can change, because
it definitely can. I've definitely seen it with other people.
I don't mean like I start working out and then it changes. I wonder if there's something else. Look, they say you just gotta do it. Even though it sucks, you gotta do it. And even when a lot of people who do it do start to enjoy it genuinely, I don't doubt that. But there are also people who don't. And I'm wondering if there's something else at play that can just change. Like, for instance, I know this is a can of worms on its own, but I used to not be able to sleep at all. Like, fall asleep. Now I fall asleep very quickly. I wake up early, but that's another thing. And I don't know what changed that lets me fall asleep very quickly nowadays. I don't know what changed. I don't do anything differently as far as I know. But something physiologically in me has changed. And I'm wondering if the way that exercise is perceived is something that can change from other factors as well.
So are you saying that basically you're hoping one day you'll wake up and want to exercise?
That would be nice. I'm not. What I'm not saying is that I'm gonna hold off exercising until that day comes. That is not what I'm doing. I'm saying I'm gonna keep exercising as much as I have been, or as much as I can manage, even though I hate it. But I hope the day comes where I start to enjoy it, because that would make it a lot easier to take it to the next level.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, the only thing I could say is maybe you haven't found the exercise you like, or maybe you haven't gotten good enough. Like sometimes you need to become more skillful at it to understand it. It's possible that I'm not saying this is you, but some people look at exercise and think it's like only stupid people love it because they're like brainless, and it's just
Oh no,
it's just something that is really simple to do and has no like intellectual validity, because it's
are
just
you referring to
only
like
in
the
your body.
stereotypical image of this super muscular guy?
Yeah,
who's
gym
a
bro
dimwit?
type.
Yeah, no. I find people who work out actually very into the science of it, and
Yeah, it's another. Yeah, that can be another problem, but yeah.
but I mean in general, I don't find them to be dumb
Right.
at all.
Yeah,
I find them to be
maybe
less
that's
dumb,
an
if anything.
older
Yeah,
stereotype. Yeah. I don't know. Just keep trying.
I have no. I would be excited to play certain sports. I know that, like football and stuff. I'd be excited, and I would go to it and really, really enjoy it. So maybe it's like that.
And it doesn't have to be sport in the traditional sense, just something that you're moving and your heart rate gets up. You could try dancing.
That is genius. I've been playing paddle.
What?
It's like tennis, but for older people.
Oh, was this that pickleball? Or was it? Didn't we talk about this?
We might have, yeah. It looks very similar, but the paddle ball is much more similar to a tennis ball. Like you wouldn't be able to tell them apart. Technically, it has some difference, but you could use a tennis ball. But other than that, it looks quite similar from what I'm seeing. There's also the paddle is in a cage, and you often use the walls. It can get quite intense, but the last thing I played regularly was football, and that's way more intense.
Yeah.
So I got invited, and I kept going, and it is fun. But I can see how it's kind of like a tennis for older people who can't really run anymore. But like, I'm not tired. I barely sweat by the end of it.
Yeah, it seems like over the years they always come out with some new variation on tennis. And it becomes like the popular thing for a time, and then like squash, and then racquetball, and
there's too many, and like, I don't know the difference between them.
I don't either.
You used to play tennis or something? Yeah.
In up to end of high school. Yeah.
By yourself or with a teammate?
You mean doubles or singles?
Yeah.
I much preferred to play singles, but I did play doubles as well.
Because that's quite the cardio, I imagine.
Yeah, it can be. Some of it depends on the style.
I should mention that I've been playing doubles with paddle, and I bet playing singles is way more.
Right, intense. So you just don't have much court space to cover.
Exactly.
Yeah, but with the singles, you're like running. You can run back, and yeah. Oh, that's good though.
Yeah, it is, because I don't have a football team anymore, and it's been nice to. I need an excuse like that to get out and play something physical.
Yeah.
Football was that. Some kind of competitive sport, anyway.
That's good.
If we flip the question where you could do any kind of sport or exercise, like no limits whatsoever, I think my answer would go towards maybe not swimming, but I would go towards mountain climbing or something like that, because it looks like it works a whole lot of muscles, and it looks like something that I would really enjoy doing.
You mean for health or just for fun?
Both. Like, this would be something that I could do for health that I would also enjoy a lot. But there are no mountains anywhere near me, so...
Are there any climbing gyms?
I know there's one, actually, but I've seen it in posts of people, locals, but doesn't that get old to just climb the same wall?
Not for the people who do it.
I guess.
And you can, like in the gyms, you can change the routes, and there's a lot of. I've done some climbing in gyms, and there's a lot that you can modify to make it not the same every time. Like all of I forget what they're called, the whatever the things are that you hold on to, like they move them around all the time, and
that's cool.
There's different levels.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey,
what would be your no limitations? And assuming like traveling to it isn't an issue, and
exactly what I'm doing.
What is the gist of what you do? Other than skinning cats.
Yeah, well, just very briefly, I do something called aerial straps. It looks like gymnastics rings, like Olympic rings. That's the closest that it looks like, but you're doing lots of rotations, spinning, and a lot of one-arm stuff, which they don't do in gymnastics rings. And you may have seen it in things like Cirque du Soleil.
I have not.
It's like considered a circus art.
Okay. It looks impressive what you do.
It is definitely impressive. I'm not saying I'm impressive, but it is impressive. It's crazy the things that people can do now. It's a pretty new type of performance. Like it really started in the 80s and 90s, and even then it was like just a few people in the world who did it. And then, once Cirque du Soleil became more popular, it also became more popular. So, but it definitely does everything you need for the upper body and some for lower body.
Cool. Would it make sense to take creatine with cardio stuff? I know you mentioned that it would be fine to take it even if you're not doing exercise, but would you get benefits from taking creatine if you're not building muscle but doing cardio stuff?
Specifically for muscular benefits and performance, probably not cardio stuff. Generally, it seems like creatine's for a shorter period of exercise, like 30 seconds to a minute, maybe like up to 20 to 30 reps of an exercise. But I'd still take it anyway.
Right. But when you're doing cardio, like if you're playing tennis or whatever, aren't you also working a lot of leg muscles? And
yeah, I mean, it might help there because that's not like a steady cardio. It's kind of kind of more like high intensity almost, where it's like a short burst and then a rest. Yes, it could help with that.
Okay, I see.
I mean, when I said cardio, I meant more like longer
jogging
term. Yeah.